We buried my grandmother today. Mama Jones. That's what everyone in the neighborhood called her. Her real first name was Edwina. All the grown folks called her Eddie, but not us kids. Bye, Mama Jones. I'm gonna miss you. She was a strong woman right up to the end. Mama Jones was 98, we think. Some say she was over 100. She said, ain't nobody's business except the Lord's. Mama Jones. She was the one that raised me. I never knew my mother or my father. Lillian was my mother's name, but she died in childbirth with me. Everybody gets real quiet whenever I ask about her. I guess the grief is just too much to bear. Somehow I thought maybe they blamed me for her death. Wish I could have seen a picture of her just once. Wonder if I look like her. I always meant to ask Mama Jones what happened to those pictures of her. I think my father took them all. There was so many things I meant to ask Mama Jones. Now it's too late. I should have come back home before. She kept begging, but I just couldn't. I just couldn't. You know, I just wanted to forget this place. All the nightmares and the headaches, just thinking about this place, it makes me tremble. Now I'll never know. Can I help?
Oh, no, child. We started cooking early this morning, way before you got here. Why don't you sit down?
Dina, you look a little tired. Are you feeling okay?
I'm
You
fine.
feel feverish, baby. Why don't you go upstairs and lay down?
I'm fine.
Girl, now go on upstairs and get some rest. We'll call you when the food is ready.
I said I am fine.
Okay.
Well, Dina, tell us what you've been up to in New York City.
Just working on my master's and doing some paralegal research for a law firm.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
Any of those lawyers like Johnny Cochran?
No, they practice criminal law. We only handle civil cases.
Civil. Does that mean you treat each other nice?
Dina, that was a joke.
So, Dina, tell us, have you got your eyes on any of those single lawyers?
Why would you ask me something like that?
Oh, now, Dina, baby, you are of age. I mean, one of those lawyers would be a real fine catch for you, baby. So have you met somebody you'd like to come go out with?
You know what? I think I am going to go on upstairs and go lie down for a while, okay?
All right, baby.
Oh, Dina, watch the banister, darling. Those stairs are a bit rickety.
All right.
What's the matter with her?
Oh, she's probably still just in shock from Mama Jones passing her all.
Yeah? But she always was a strange child. Playing by herself, hiding all the time. Just,
Jean, why don't you just go in the kitchen and check on the roast, okay?
yes, ma'am.
been up here since I was a child. Papa Jones' old rocking chair. Oh, there's Mama Jones' old sewing machine. The Victrola record player. Wow, these things are antiques. You know, they pay a fortune for this stuff back in New York. Mama Jones' old keepsake chest. What would something like this would cost today?
This dress. I remember how wonderful I felt that day walking into the church. It was hot as hell, but I didn't care. I just held my head up high. There were over 150 people there, some from as far away as New Orleans. And no William. Come here, child. Sweetie, come here. It's your Mama Jones.
Mama Jones? Mama Jones! Oh, but you're so young and so pretty.
Why, yes, I am.
So are you. Oh, Mama Jones.
Well, my father, 2 brothers, and cousin Jim had to go find him. They found him hiding in Papa's barn. Well, they brought him back to the church, and each one of them blocked an exit. But he must not have regretted it, because he stayed with me for 70 years.
No.
Only till death did we part. I see you've been in my stuff. You know, ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to go to Bethune-Cookman College. But when William asked me to marry him, I couldn't resist. I mean, the only real reason people went to college anyway was to find a decent husband, and well, I already accomplished that. I could play the piano. I could sew a dress without a pattern. I do floral arrangements, tend to the garden, cook chicken 17 different ways. And I kept a clean house. Now my sister Mavis, she wasn't never into the cooking and the cleaning. She didn't even like to dress up. Now she was supposed to go to Fisk, the co-ed college. But Papa said no. So she had to go to Bethune-Cookman, the women's college. Now she shocked everybody by not arguing back, not even once. Now we exchanged letters every week when she first left for college. She would tell me about her classes and her new activities and her new friends. And I would tell her what William was doing and the things we was up to. And I sent her some of my new recipes and my dress patterns. But I guess she didn't like that too much, because she stopped writing. But one thing about our family, we believe in reading and writing and never throwing anything away. We have letters and poems and diaries from family members that go back to slavery. Now, I never knew our people were so literate in the 1800s. But I guess if you can read the Bible, you can read other books too, huh? I remember when Mama first showed me her keepsake chest, and I thought it was just full of junk. Mama, I don't want that junk. But when I got older, I enjoyed spending whole days just going through it. Now, Harriet Adams, a freed slave, she published a novel in 1857. And my grandma, Jemma May, she died before I was born. But I heard so many stories about her, I feel like I know her. It's like the women in our family, like we're connected. And we've always been willing to fight for what we believe in. And you know, there was so much going on when I first got there. 400,000 Negroes left their farms to join the war effort, and W.E.B. Du Bois, the editor of the NAACP magazine, The Crisis, he said that Negroes would finally be treated as full citizens if we helped America win this war. He was wrong. Negroes got no respect in uniform or out. And in one of them northern cities, white folks burned 200 colored people out their homes. Whew. And they talk about the South. But at least we know where we stand down here. My cousin Catherine went to Harlem to be a dancer. And she spent one summer down here with us, and we took some dance classes together. Now see, I was a natural. But Catherine was always practicing, just practicing and practicing and practicing. Whew. She wanted me to come to Harlem to visit her. I ain't going to no simple place like that. We kept hearing about the Negro Renaissance going on up there. Now, I always thought that Renaissance meant better times. What's so wonderful about dancing in a club where your own folks aren't even allowed to patronize? At least down here, we got our clubs, the white folks got theirs, and that's fine with me. Precious, did you know your grandma wrote articles for the local colored newspaper? I sure did. At first, it was just some cooking tips, like the best times to plant and can your fruits. And then I started writing about our family. And people getting to know me around town. Yeah, Papa Jones, he didn't like that too much. But he didn't make me stop. See, I knew how to soothe William whenever he got a little ruffled, you know. Your Papa Jones loved it when I played for him. So whenever I knew he was upset about something, I'd just play his favorite song
May I have this stand?
Why, yes, you may. Pretty thing. This is fun, huh? You're so pretty. I love you.
Gemma Mae Johnson, my great-great-grandmother on my mother's side. I was born a slave.
August 20th, 1807. One day and 24 years before Nat Turner began his revolt. My pa, he was killed for hiding Nat. No one believed me when I said he wasn't guilty. See, I was the one that hid Nat. We belong to a family named Parker. Our crop is tobacco. When I pass a massa, I make myself look ugly. Mama taught me that. I let spit fall from my mouth and I hunch over as I walk. That way he don't come around asking for me like he do the others my age. I first met Nat Turner when I was loaned to the Travis plantation. Nat was a Baptist preacher known all over the county. His preaching was so good he was allowed to travel free from plantation to plantation. He even baptized a white man once. I was a good seamstress, Makes all the clothes for the slaves on our plantation. Massa Parker was bragging about my stitching one day when Joseph Travis, the owner of Nat Turner's plantation, asked if I could come and teach his women slaves my stitching. Well, I goes to the place, and right away I could tell something was going on. Every time I'd pass by, the slaves would stop talking and start whispering. So I hid behind one of the slave houses. And overheard them talking about killing the whites. Nat come out and caught me listening. I swore to him that I wouldn't tell, but the others wanted to break my neck and pretend I had failed. But Nat, he wouldn't let them harm me. He believed me. I told Nat that if anything should go wrong, he should come to the riverbank at the edge of our plantation, and I'd show him a place to hide. That night when I got back to our plantation, the rebellion had started. I just sat sewing all night. Papa kept asking me what was wrong, but I just kept sewing and singing a song the old slaves sing when somebody dies. Mm-hmm. 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 next morning, we heard about the rebellion and how they were killing the white folk. The church bells were ringing to warn the whites, and Master Parker sent word that no slave was to leave the plantation. And by the next morning, there were 20 white men hidden in the fields with guns, just waiting for Nat's men. So I snuck off through the back fields. And when I got to the edge of the riverbank, Nat was there, waiting for me. So I took him to a ledge. They had a little cave under it. And I brought him some food to last a few days, and I told him to stay right there. I'd be back as soon as I can. But when I got back, Paul was mad. I wouldn't tell him where I'd been. And we had heard the rebellion had been squashed. But they ain't been able to find Nat. So I snuck off again. Through the backfields. But Paul saw me going off and followed me. We got into a big old fight, and he wasn't letting me leave until I told him what was going on. So I told him, and he went with me to the cave. But Nat was gone. Paul told me to go back and that he stay there and look for Nat. I come back, but Paul never did. It grew dark, and Ma got worried. Uncle Joe came and told us that Paul was dead. The white said he was one of Nat Turner's men and that he wouldn't tell him when Nat was hiding or who hit him, so they beat him. And the beating went on for hours, they say. They drew blood with each lick. The more they beat Paul, the more he seemed to grow strong. He never uttered one word. Till it just fell over dead. Papa Jones always said his family weren't meant to be slaves because they always kept running away. His great-grandfather, Nathan Jeremiah Jones, he ran off. He was hid by a tribe of Choctaw Indians. He married one of them. Yeah. Her name was Wallachie. I remember.
The day that Nathan came to our land. I was just 12 years old. My father let me take him down to the river and catch some fish. I'd seen lots of dark men before. They were owned by white men. And when they ran away, my tribe would hide them. Nathan led many expeditions to free other slaves. Most of those dark men would leave after a while and go north. But not Nathan. I liked him right off. He let me touch his hair. It was so soft. Nathan told me that back in Africa, where his people are from, the sun is so hot. And the kinky hair protects the head. I wish my hair would do this. Well, before long, Nathan learned how to speak our language. And he took me as his wife. Oh, I was quiet as a child. But Nathan could always get me stirred up. Nathan told me I was the fastest runner. The best hunter of any man I'd ever known. My father never had any sons. My mother died when I was very young. So I'd go hunting with my father. I learned how to do everything that a man would normally do. I could catch fish, shoot game, so we always had plenty of food. But Nathan said I couldn't cook worth a darn. One day, there's this group of white men that came into our land. They offered us guns and food if we turned over all the runaway slaves. Well, since they've been riding so many days to get to our land, our chief told us to water their horses and to give them something to eat. I don't know why I was chosen to fix the food for those white men. But I fixed up some of my rattlesnake soup. And one by one, those white men started to get sick. I don't know if they ever made it back to where they came from. But no one ever asked me to fix food for visitors again. But the times were changing, and my culture and traditional ways came under attack. And then the white men wanted our land. And they forced my people to march to Indian Territory in Oklahoma. And it became known as the Trail of Tears. Because of my love for Nathan and the land, I stayed behind with Nathan and the other dark men and their Indian wives. And we raised 12 children together. But those white people, they never understood why we got along so well with the runaway slave. The buffalo would even understand. The easiest way to unite people is to give them a common enemy.